So one day, I promise, I pinky swear, that I will do something other than a TBR video. Things are just a little transitional right now, so sorry about that. Hey guys, it's Whitney. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be playing the February edition of Tabletop TBR. And I'm hoping that the game will be sort of nice to me because February is a short month and I don't want to be trying to read 20 books in February because I really can't read that much. So, first things first. I know that you guys are really interested in seeing which books I actually read from these TBRs. So the first thing we're going to do is go over what I read and what I didn't read from last month's TBR. So these are the books that I was supposed to read last month. I read all three of these, Hollowpox, The Black God's Drums, and Kings of the Wyld last month. I also had on the list, whoa, please don't drop that, The Well of Ascension, which I didn't have a physical copy of, and I have started Whisper Me a Love Story, which was a manga, and I did finish that one. And then I had the first volume of Sandman, which I'm currently reading. Today is the 30th, the last day of the month, so I'm pretty confident I'll finish that one. And I had some extras listed that weren't officially on the TBR, and that was Across the Green Grass Fields and Drowned Country. I didn't get to either of those. So, because I didn't finish my main TBR, which I was about to drop, I have to carry over one of the books per my rules. I'm technically carrying over The Well of Ascension, but I am like 30 to 40% of the way through that, so it doesn't really count because I do plan on finishing it anyway, and I'll probably finish Sandman today. So I'm going to be carrying over my last book, the only one that I didn't even start, and that is The Unspoken Name. So on to actually doing February's rolls. Firstly, I guess let me do a small what are the rules section for those of you who are new to the game. You can go back and watch previous ones and probably get a better explanation. Basically, the game is played by me using the board that I showed you at the very beginning of the video and rolling different die depending on the circumstance to see how many spaces I'm going to move. Each color is notated on a prompt card like this. It has all the colors and each color has a prompt next to it. So depending on what color I land on is what chooses the prompt from the card I draw. I feel like I'm making this more confusing than it needs to be. Roll the dice, land on a color, pick a card, and use the prompt that correlates to the color you landed on. There are some special circumstances that I tend to get into when they arise. There are some special cards for if I land on an ally space or a monster space, and I go over the rules as we get to those. They're pretty simple. There are positives for rolling a natural 20 and negatives for rolling a natural 1, because that's only fitting. But that is the quick, watered-down version of the rules. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. I will happily answer those. But first, I guess we should go ahead and roll for initiative. So I rolled a 12, which means that I'm gonna do 6 rolls because I want to use the D20 and not the D10. The D10 would be it simpler, but I don't wanna, okay? But I think that we should go ahead and move on to our first roll. So the first roll is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is a purple space. Also, with this new sort of setup, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you guys the prompts on the camera because here it is, but we're going to try. So the prompt is to read your most recent purchase. So for the first roll, I landed on a purple space, which is a rest space. So I guess we're gonna start off this session with resting up for our adventure again. I'm pretty sure that's how it went last time too, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad. And the prompt for purple was to read your most recent purchase, and for me, I went specifically with novels and not manga. And that for me is Across the Green Grass Fields. I am officially putting this on the TBR because it hurt me not to read this last month. The Wayward Children series is one of my absolute most favorite series of pretty much all time, and they're so short, and it's just really refreshing to get a whole story in such a short book. That's why I've started to like short fiction so much. But yeah, this is just a continuation of that series. It's about children who come back from basically portal worlds that they went into and how they sort of deal with coming back from that sort of thing. That isn't the best summary, but it gets the point across. But let's go ahead and move on to roll number 2. So the next roll, I actually rolled a natural 20. So I'm going to move the 20 spaces, and whichever color that I land on, I get to pick whichever color prompt on the card that I want, regardless of what I land on. Did that make any sense? I really hope that it did. So let's move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And a monster space. Okay. So that means I don't pick a card anyway. I have to roll to try and beat this monster, and I need a 10 or above. Actually, technically an 11 or above to beat this monster. If I roll a 10, I have to roll again and try again. So for my monster roll, I rolled 14, which means I do beat the monster. I am curious what I would have had to do, and I know this is probably dumb to some of you, but I would have had to roll the d20 and move back that amount of spaces. Like I said, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see these cards the way I have it set up right now, but we don't have to do that because we did, in fact, roll 14. So for our second roll, we actually rolled a natural 20. So that means that we got to move 20 spaces, and when we pulled a prompt card, we were supposed to be able to pick whichever prompt we wanted, but instead we landed on a monster space, and yeah. So there was no prompt card, but we did beat the monster. So we rested, and I guess we got attacked by a monster and we beat it miraculously somehow. Look, that natural 20, man. Which means that I don't have to pick a book for this one, which is sort of good because, like I said, February is very short. It's a very short month. So I'm grateful to have less that I actually need to read. Honestly, ideally, I would love to be able to finish whatever TBR I have this month and read more than what I put on it. That would be ideal. But let's go ahead and move on to roll number 3. Roll number 3 is a 15. So we are going to move 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stay there. And that is a teal space. So let's see, and that is to read a middle grade fantasy. Get that for you guys as best as I can. For roll number 3, I landed on a teal space, which is a riddle space. So when we beat the monster, it just like disintegrated and left us with this little rolled up parchment that we unrolled, and it was a riddle to something, to a treasure. I don't know. I'm just making this shit up as I go along, okay? And the prompt for this was to read a middle grade fantasy. For this, I decided to go with the Mystwick School of Musticraft, and I decided on this one. Honestly, I sent my friend a picture of 3 that I wanted to read and made them pick one, but the reason that this one was on the list is because it deals with a musical instrument, basically as like a conduit to produce magic, to be a magical weapon, something like that. And I mean, either way, I'm here for it. This just looks really cute, and I saw it floating around Twitter a while back. I think specifically I follow the author, and it just sounds great. I don't know, it just sounds like something that would really be up my alley, and the illustrations on the cover are also really beautiful. Let's go ahead and move on to roll number 4. Roll number 4 is 13, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is a pink space. So for pink, we have to read a book with a 1-word title. So for the 4th roll, I landed on pink, which is a magical darkness. I feel like we get this magical darkness every time. It's just like everyone wants us to wander around in the dark and try to kill us, I guess. But basically, as soon as we have the scroll with the riddle in our hand, a magical darkness envelops us and we can't see shit. And the prompt for this was to read a book with a one-word title, and that is Windwitch for me. I read Truthwitch a while back and I really enjoyed it. It took me forever to actually find a copy of Windwitch. I needed to find this secondhand, so it took me a while. And it's been sitting, waiting to be read because I am indecisive and terrible at finishing series, which I am trying to get better at. But let's move on to the 5th roll. So roll number 5 is probably one of the lowest rolls that I've had it in a while, and that is a 2. So we're gonna move 1, 2, and that is, it looks like an orange space, but it is technically a dark orange red space. I'm not actually sure how easy it is to see the difference on camera, but my printer just printed them a darker orange than the regular orange spaces, so I can physically see that they're darker, but I don't know if the camera picks that up. But anyway, the prompt for that is to read a book about witches, and I think that that was a recycled prompt from around Halloween. Oh, for this we were really close to a natural one, and that would have been bad. But we landed on a red space. I know they look like they're dark orange, but I feel like I say this every time and I need to stop saying it. They're red. And red correlates to a booby trap. So as we wander around in the dark, we step on a booby trap that is probably going to murder us because we can't see it, and I didn't think that through. But maybe we can hear it. We can hear the booby trap. There's noise coming from somewhere, and we don't know what it is or where it is because we can't see. And the prompt for this was to read a book about witches, and I'm pretty sure that The Ravens is about witches or has witches in it. I don't 100% remember. I just know that this is something that I want to read. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, kind of mixed reviews on it, honestly, and I don't really actually know anything about it, which is the story of my life. Even if I read the inside cover, I tend to forget like what the hell I read. So I have read what this is about, I just don't remember at all. Only their sisterhood can save them. So yeah, I think this is definitely about witches. Yeah. The Ravens aren't just regular sorority girls, they're witches. So yeah, this is definitely about witches. So let's move on to our final roll. I'm excited to see what this is because so far this TBR is very doable for me. So the 6th and final roll is 11. So we're gonna go ahead and move our 11 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you wanna go blue or green? Let's go green. And the prompt for green is to read a book you've been putting off. Way to call me out, game. Way to call me out. So the 6th roll, we landed on green, which is a plot twist or an ambush. So we have come to this booby trap, and I guess we've somehow miraculously survived it, and we are just ambushed by this group of people. Do we die? I don't know. This is the last roll, so I don't know. I guess it's a cliffhanger. Unless the people who we thought were our enemies were actually here to save us from this magical darkness that they witnessed us be basically eaten by. So, like, they're our heroes because they knew we were gonna do this dumb shit. They knew we were gonna touch that scroll. They knew we were gonna fight that monster. They knew that this was gonna happen and they were gonna have to save our asses because that seems like something that would actually happen to me. So for this one, the prompt is to read a book that you've been putting off. And for me, it is The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. This is a book that I bought basically as soon as it came out because I was really interested in it. Like I mentioned earlier, don't remember the plot because I read the information on it so long ago. But I know that like the title of the series is called The Bitch Queen or something like that. And yes, please. Just the vibes that this book gives off. And like, I'm normally not someone to just really love people on the cover, but I really like this. It's also, I believe, an Asian-inspired fantasy. Don't quote me on that because I didn't look it up. I just kind of remembered it right now. I think that it is. Guys, hush. So we have the TBR picked out, and she's a little large, but not too bad, honestly, not too bad. I know that these two will be pretty quick and easy. This one is pretty short as well. These guys are gonna be the question. Either way, I'm looking forward to all of these. Some of these are definitely backlog titles on my list, and I'm happy to be getting to some of those. I do want to get my TBR down to a reasonable amount so that I don't feel guilty when things sit on my shelf too long, especially since I have limited space. But that was it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to go down there and give it a thumbs up. Possibly, potentially, maybe hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content in the future. And I will talk to you guys next time.